Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Dover, Delaware, the Monster Mile, Dover International Speedway for tonight's Dover 200, the Superior Class Auto Racing NASCAR Cup Series. Up in New England, not too far off the Atlantic Ocean. Boy, I'd love to be on the beach right now.
That would be nice.
Would definitely. Steve Singer in the HBR TV booth alongside Eric Dotson, getting ready for some NASCAR Next Gen Cup Series action here from the Monster Mile. 200 laps, 200 miles. It's going to be a good time, Eric. What are your thoughts? Have you had a chance to turn any laps in this car at this place? It's seemingly pretty tricky here tonight.
Very few, and I'm just going to say I'm glad I'm not racing tonight. This, I think the guys who are going to run good tonight put in the practice here.
I got to say, tough tracks last night at IRP in the Super Late Model Series with the SCAR group. They had their hands full. Even Bobby Hamilton Jr. himself was leading second lap of the race off turn number 4. Got the car crossed up and into the inside wall. In fact, that happened 3 separate occasions. One was not his doing. Got in with some contact with the 86 of Colt Ansley after a disagreement, let's just say.
Uh-oh.
Bobby got into not sure which corner it was, but slid up toward the 86. Colt did not take too kindly to it. Colt repaid the favor, ended up spinning the 16. But that's a different series. Tonight, we're at Dover for the Cup Series. And I got to say,
it could carry over them.
Yeah, it definitely could carry over. I don't know if they've talked yet or not. We're going to have to find out soon enough. But I do want to say that before we get too deep into this, we mentioned it last night at the beginning of the Super Late Model broadcast. We lost really a pioneer in the sport. Frank Williams, founder of the Williams Formula One racing team, passed away over the weekend at the age of 79. I'd like to read a statement here from the Williams racing team. The Williams racing team is truly saddened by the passing of our founder, Sir Frank Williams. Sir Frank was a legend and icon of our sport. His passing marks the end of an era for our team and for the sport of Formula One. He was one of a kind and a true pioneer. Despite considerable adversity in his life, he led our team to 16 world championships, making us one of the most successful teams in the history of the sport. His values, including integrity, teamwork, and a fierce independence and determination, remain the core ethos of our team and are his legacy. As is the Williams family name under which we proudly race, our thoughts and prayers are with the Williams family at this difficult time. Tough loss for the motorsports world for sure, Eric. I know you're not much of a Formula One fan by any means, but if you knew anything about the Williams racing team, drivers like Nigel Mansell, Ayrton Senna, Damon Hill, they all raced for Williams, up until recently, George Russell. Some names I'm sure are familiar to even guys like yourself that may not have watched a Formula One race in your life, or maybe just one or two, or the guys that, of course, watch them every Sunday morning when they're on in Europe. Eric, you still with us?
I am.
So getting into... Go ahead.
I had a little malfunction. I'm back now.
That's all right. I had some of those last night. Had some real difficulty getting the stream up and running. We struggled. We powered through it, and we got it done. But so far, so good here tonight. Up and running without issue. Knock on wood or, well, aluminum as I sit here in my rig. Either way, it's going to be a fun race to watch here tonight. Just hope these guys can keep it clean. I know we talked a little bit last night about worrying on how these guys were going to get around IRP at the time and how difficult it was going to be for those guys to make it happen. just because of how difficult the cars were to drive on fresh tires. We had a caution early. It was Bobby Hamilton Jr. spun out on lap number 2, brought the yellow out, but really we went to the halfway point, the halfway break, without an issue at that point. So it seemed to work out pretty good. Just really kind of crossing our fingers and hoping that we end up doing the same here this evening.
Yeah, I think this will probably be the toughest track we've been to this series.
Yeah, I mean, they're running quick times around here. They're really moving, but handling is going to be important. You know, we thought about these cars that, oh, yeah, they just plant the gas and just run wide open all the time. No problem, but not so much the case here at Dover. We do have qualifying. It's just getting underway. We'll look at Bobby Hamilton Jr. is taken to the track right now, and that number 16. Good-looking paint job on that number 16. Of course, the hateful chicken on the hood of that number 16 machine, that Ford Mustang. So what do you think, Eric? You got a pick for tonight? You're going to go steal David Bradford and see if he's going to go with 4 in a row here tonight?
I was told by a group of HBR guys that David may not be a good pick tonight because of the tire situation. I think David has one less set of tires, so they were advising me against it. I think they're pulling for me to take the lead back on you with our picks.
You know, at the same time, though, I mean, we're expecting this to be kind of a wreck fest here tonight. We've got almost 20 cars here in the field. If we get a bunch of cautions, I don't think tires are going to matter as much, at least being down 1 set. They got 4 sets to play with as far as the field is concerned. Obviously, David's down to 3. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and, you know, talking to some of these drivers, you know, the fastest car may not win tonight. It's who's going to be able to save the tires the best from everybody I talk to. So I think, you know, whoever gets out there and they're fast but they save tires, they'll be the one to win this race.
All right, so who gets to pick first, me or you?
You're the leader. You get first pick. I hate saying that.
All right, well, as much as I want to pick Cody Harger, he's been on a bit of a struggle lately on the Cup side of things. So I'm going to go with Bobby Hamilton Jr. here on this one.
Bobby Jr. Okay. I am going to take the guy who was the fastest last week, so maybe that's sticking in my mind, but I'm going to take the 74 of Mike how do you pronounce that last name?
Eric. Mike Aiello Jr. Again, I could be wrong too, but that's how I see it. I grew up in an Italian household, so I'm going to go with Mike Aiello Jr. That's how we pronounce it. So that's Eric's pick. Is that what we're going with?
That's what I'm going with. I think you know, talking to him, he's committed to getting back up in the points race here. I know he missed a few races, so I mean, man, he had a rocket ship last week. So I'm with him and hoping it carries over to this race.
Well, we'll have to wait and find out. We got 200 miles of action that awaits us here to find out who's going to win that pick battle that me and Eric have going on. But it's going to be fun to watch front to back as far as the field is concerned. And you got Thomas McMullen starting, looks like about the 12th spot after his qualifying run. Some fast guys not really up in that top 5 mark, top 10. Cody Harger on P1. Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s 4th. You got Will Jones in the 6th spot. Justin Napier 7th. HBR's Brian Rose, top 10, 9th. Vincent Short right with him in the 10th spot. Carson Conway 16th. But again, qualifying may not necessarily come into play as much as everyone might think. As Eric was mentioning earlier, tires are very important here at Dover International Speedway. If the guys can just run clean laps, be consistent throughout the run, if we don't get caution after caution after caution, these guys can save some rubber and make it to the end.
Yeah, that's, you know, David is it 3 in a row now?
Yeah, David won 3 in a row. If he can win it tonight, it's 4 in a row, but Again, very difficult to do. And aside from the tire issue, David being down a set of tires, he's also a bit under the weather. Kind of racing with what seems like the flu here this evening. So I don't know. That's going to be a disadvantage for David Bradford as well. But even still, he's quick. He's starting third. So I don't know. Maybe that stomach bug isn't really hurting him all that bad. But let's look at our starting grid here. Cody Harger on the pole. That number 66 Plasmine Technologies Toyota Camry with Charger Racing. Cole Ansley, I think, was fastest in practice. He starts outside pole in that number 86 Rick Motec machine. David Bradford is third with Holler Boys Racing. He's got that natty light paint scheme on that number 46. Bobby Hamilton Jr. with the Hateful Chicken, of course. Familiar number 16. He starts fourth. Mike Aiello Jr. with Bay Racing E-Motorsports. He starts fifth. Will Jones in the 56 out of Carolina. He's in the sixth spot. Justin Napier, also a Hateful Chicken entry with TCB Motorsports. He rolls off seventh. Will Hewlett with Outcast Racing. He will start from the 8th position. Brian Rose, HBR entry number 9 on the grid. 10th is Vincent Short, also with Howler Boys Racing. Mark Truxell from Indiana. He will roll off in the 11th position. And Thomas McMillan, I believe our winner from last night, he will roll out 12th on the grid. 13th starting position is Jesse Bobo in that number 7. Jason Spear, one half of the Spear brothers there, will roll off from the 14th position. 15th, Alan DeFries in the 71. Carson Conway, Holler Boys Racing, number 82, will be 16th. 17th, Jeff Napier. 18th, the other Spear, the number 32 of Ian Spear, will roll off last but not least in the 18th position.
So I guess David Bradford will get an EOL here. He will start from the back, and after the first stage, he will get an EOL.
Yeah, on top of that, we're going green here in a moment, but a couple of penalties. Vince Short gets an EOL for did not claiming a caution at Atlanta. Will Hewitt, he was warned for avoiding the interview in the broadcast. David Bradford, of course, an EOL for his win penalty. One set of tires down for the season, plus the EOL in the second stage. That's also for the season. And Jeff Napier, at the green flag, he will serve a stop-and-go penalty for an improper clearing of the black flag at Atlanta. So that's where we go. Green flag is in the air. We're underway. Cody Harger in the gas early. A great initial start for the 66. Cuts up in front of Colt Ansley. Third place, Bobby Hamilton Jr. also gets around. Where did David Bradford go? Of course, he has that EOL. We forgot. We already mentioned it.
Yeah, Cody got a great start right there.
Colt not pushing the issue so much. He got a decent start as well, and not so much compared to Cody, but got away from Bobby Jr. in that first lap. Already taking a peek to the inside of the 66. Trying to see what he's got for this afternoon's race.
Hopefully, Cody Harger can stay out front and end this bad luck streak he's on.
Yeah, Cody's really had some struggles, at least on the Cup side. Cody's he's a great driver in this iRacing series. He's got some experience in real race cars as well, but not so lucky this season on the Cup side of things. He's had some pretty strong runs in ARCA and Super Late Model, but just has not been able to shake the bad luck bug here on the Cup side.
Looks like Cody and Colt are definitely pulling away a little bit. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing with the tires coming into factor here.
It really is tough to say. I mean, tires obviously very, very important here at Dover, especially in these next-gen cars. They're going to wear them out really quick. You got to wonder, are they just running fast laps and shaving the tires down? But Colt gets into the wall off turn number 2. Light contact, but definitely not a good sign early on, lap 5 of 200. Didn't seem to slow him down so much. We'll have to see how it affects him the rest of the run.
Yeah, I think Colt's most happy when he's leading, no matter where it is or what lap it is. So I think he's definitely going to make a push to go to the front.
I don't know a whole lot of guys that aren't happy when they're out front. But again, Colt is really pushing the issue here early on in the Dover 200. Cody Strong out front. It's going to be difficult to pass here at Dover, but Colt was right on that back bumper, showing some speed here early.
Looks like everybody's kind of just single file riding now. I know we got a long ways to go. I think this goes to lap 60, this stage.
You know, I really got to rely on you here for the stages, because that's unfortunately, with all the preparation that I do for these races, I always forget to check to see what our stage breaks are going to be. I know we've got 4 sets of tires and 3 for David Bradford, but Eric Dotson is my guy for the stages for sure.
Yeah, we got 200 laps. Stage 1 will end at lap 60, stage 2 at 120, and 4 sets of tires, except for David with 1, and then 1 quick repair on pit road.
Now, speaking of the tire situation, when I got into the session, I noticed that it was listed as 10 sets of tires for tonight's race. Now, that does not mean that these guys get to go through 10 sets of tires. The only reason it's been put in is because in this next-gen Cup car, there has been some issues with guys making pit stops, and all of a sudden the cars glitch out and they get stuck in the pit lane for a certain amount of time, and then it doesn't change tires properly or what have you. So we wanted to make sure that we gave everybody a fair amount of tire sets. Now, how do you police that? Well, post-race, the guys immediately have to take a screenshot of how many tires they show left in their inventory, so to speak, so that nobody's got the unfair advantage. So we're going to keep an eye on it. The league's going to police it, check it at the end, but this way, if someone kind of gets caught out with that glitch in the pit lane and they lose a set of tires because of it, because that's kind of what happens, it deducts the set but doesn't actually change it. It's kind of a difficult situation for guys that are getting caught out without them. Back up front, Cody Harger continues to lead. Seems to be a common trend here for the last couple of weeks with different series. Colt Ansley second, now Bobby Jr. up to the 3rd spot. Will Jones is 4th. Will Hewitt is 5th. But Bobby has closed the gap on 2nd place, Colt Ansley. I don't know, again, if this translates to, oh man, I burned up those tires early in those first 5 laps, or if, oh, maybe it's time I start to save. But either way, the 16, taking a look here with Colt Ansley in 2nd. Bobby probably wants that spot.
Yeah, I think, probably Bobby Jr. and David Bradford are the 2 best at saving tires. So that's what I was keeping an eye on Bobby for. I figure, he's trying to conserve as much as he can. And then again, here he goes to 2nd place. He could have, that damage could be affecting Colt a little bit.
It could be affecting the car for sure, but it really could also be translated to, just kind of saving at this point. It's early in the race. I know Colt's going to want some points, but no sense in putting up a real strong battle here this early in the race.
I think, the more patient you are, the better you're going to be here, Brian Rose is one of the most patient drivers I've seen out here, It seems like he may not always be running up front, but when it comes to the end, he's right there.
We talked about that before the official practice. Brian and Carson and a couple of the other SCAR guys were actually in a practice, and we talked about strategies, and Carson specifically, he was running good lap times, but he was melting the tires on the thing. So, Brian said, look, you just got to save, man. Don't run the fast lap. If you just run a consistent, decent lap for the race, you're going to start catching guys because they're pushing too hard. And so far, that's really what we're starting to see, is that you're going to catch guys because they wear out those tires too soon. Eddie Rose has a question here in the chat. Does anyone know the name of the Dover Monster? Well, I certainly do. Do you know it, Eric?
I do not.
The name of the monster at Dover is Miles. Miles the Monster. Eddie Rose throwing in some trivia here in the HBR TV multi-stream chat. Will Hewitt, a little bit of contact on the wall off turn 2. Colt Ansley looks like he battled real hard to avoid it. He's going to save it on the apron. Impact from the 86, some front end damage to Colt Ansley. Looks like he got into the back bumper of possibly teammate Will Hewitt. Mike Fahey checking in on the stream tonight. Mike, thanks for saying hello. Who doesn't know Miles? I mean, we all know the monster, but we don't necessarily know his name, I guess. I mean, I do, but yeah, going back, Colt Ansley involved with a close call with teammate Will Hewitt. Actually says that Mike Aiello crashed. Let's see if we can take a look. Hateful Chicken instant replay.
He has disconnected, so.
Well, let's take a look. That's tough for Mike Aiello. Did you picked Mike, didn't you?
I think I picked somebody else.
I think you're full of it. So we're watching it here. Mike Aiello Jr., that 74, that blue and yellow number 74. Gets the left front below the apron. It rotates really well when you do that. He seems to get away with it here. Let's speed it up so we don't miss too much of this live action. Alan DeFries, oh yeah, net code, huge net code. That's too bad for the 74. That's not his problem, but man, does it really take care of that. Tough break for Mike Aiello. He looks like the 71 of Alan DeFries disappeared, and while he disappeared, quote unquote, made contact with the 74 of Aiello, causing damage to that machine, and then puts him up into the wall. It's a really tough break for the 74. Obviously, Alan DeFries, it didn't work out great for him either, but still running in the 10th spot for Alan.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Mike. You know, when we talked to him last week, he was pumped about this race and trying to move up in the points.
Mike kind of reminds me of a Cody. Mike's got a lot of talent. He can get around a racetrack pretty good, and unfortunately, it seems to be sometimes he can be snake bitten, kind of like Cody. Some awful luck, but right now, as far as Cody Harg is concerned, he's got a 2.5 gap on Bobby Hamilton Jr.
Yeah, Cody's looking strong right now. I know it's early, but he looks good right now. I think Bobby's starting to close the gap a little bit.
Now, some of you guys that are in here in the stream and in the chat, you might look at some new faces, some new names, and go, who the heck is Mike Fahey? He's just some random dude. Well, yeah, not really. Mike is actually a driver in, I think it's the Lone Star Series. They run trucks, and they ran a Cup Series Toys for Tots event here on Sunday that I think you guys may have tuned in for. Mike is stationed in, I believe, Texas with the Air Force. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike. We shouted out to his parents. Chris, I think, was the first name. Maybe dad was the Rob. Brother Josh. Just trying. I hope I'm getting them right here, Mike. But Mike's a supporter. Mike's a racer. He's. I really appreciate him checking in and saying hello, and appreciate his service with the U.S. military. Bobby Jr. actually gaining a little, losing a little bit of ground. He's down to about 1.7 seconds back. Again, early here in the race, you got to wonder, is the 16 just playing the game, saving the tires for the end so he's around for at least the top 3, top 5 finish, check in, cash in for some of those points at the end of the stage. No sense in really trying to hunt down for one position and chew up the tires.
Yeah, we're at the halfway mark now for stage 1, so I think, you know, we may see these guys get a little bit more aggressive this second half.
And Bobby Hamilton Jr., of course, got some real-world experience in these race cars. Drove in the Cup Series for a little while. Xfinity trucks, I think ARCA as well. Maybe it might have been K&N back in the day, but does pretty well here in the sim as well. But you've got plenty of other guys that have never seen a race car from the inside that do pretty well in the same hand. I mean, Cody Harger's got some real world experience. I think Will Jones might as well, but you got other guys like Justin Napier. He runs great in the series. David Bradford, maybe some go-kart experience, but maybe not in a real race car per se, but lots of experience here in the sim. Tire conservation is very, very important. And if you've got experience in a real race car or even lots of experience here at iRacing, you're going to move to the front here by the end of the race. You see David Bradford started at the back. He's up to the 6th position already.
Yeah, David's just, he's tough anywhere we go.
I mean, he really is. You know, the only time I ever expect to compete with David Bradford is on a road course. But with that even said, David's really stout on road courses, whether it's in a NASCAR stock car or even in a purpose-built road racing vehicle. He's always right up there. I think he's got to win on the SCAR Road Course Series at least. I think our first race at Daytona, I think David won that. Hasn't been around for a lot of the other ones. He's been busy. He's got a baby on the way. He's doing the best he can. And, again, running tonight's race with a bit of the stomach bug, but doing pretty well so far. Just one spot outside the top 10.
We actually had a pass. Will Jones has passed Bobby Jr. for second. So we'll see if Will makes a push to run Cody down here.
Again, Will is definitely no slouch. He's not been here the whole season as far as the SCAR Cup series is concerned. I know he ran with us. I think it was all season last year. Didn't start up first thing this year, but he's back. He's running up again. He's in the top 3 at the moment. Again, like Eric was saying, 2nd spot. He's still 2 seconds back from leader Cody Harger. Cody really laying down some lap time here. You know, with all that said, though, fastest car on the racetrack thus far is the 54 of Justin Napier. Justin's run a 22.62, quickest time so far during tonight's race. Again, shows he can turn a good lap, but does that mean he's going to have tire left here at the end of the stage? We're 22 laps from lap 60. Can he hold on to that 4th spot all the way to the end? All right, Eddie Rose is starting to look stuff up here on Google. He wants to know how tall Miles the Monster is. Eric, you got any idea?
46 feet.
Don't tell me you looked it up.
No, that's a guess.
You're so full of crap. You didn't even know his name, and all of a sudden you know how tall he is?
That was a guess. Am I right?
He's 46 feet tall, on the money.
What a guess. I should go play the lottery tonight.
Well, you picked Mike Aiello to win the race tonight, so far you started off a little rusty, but you're coming through on the back end.
Can I get a provisional on that?
Once you pick, you pick. It's over.
Rough. That's rough, Steve.
Is what it is. Meanwhile, there's a battle between Bobby Jr. and Will Jones. Bobby's gotten back by. Will Jones actually, in trouble. No, that's Justin Napier. Hits the inside wall. Looks like in the entry to turn 3. Some left side damage to the number 54. Let's see if I got any replay on that. I'm just going to have to hit the rewind button. That's the only way we're going to see this. There was a battle.
I'm not sure what happened.
All right, so off turn 2, Will Jones comes down the track a little while Justin's coming up. They kind of meet in the middle. The 54 gets crossed up. Jones scrapes the wall, but Justin Napier turns it hard down to the inside. Some right side impact to the safer barrier on entry to turn 3. Does an excellent job keeping it out of traffic, down on the apron, keeps it going straight, keeps the caution from coming out. Tough break for Justin Napier. We were just talking about him. There's that broadcaster's curse again. Justin rejoins in the 9th spot, so still top 10 for the 54. Car is damaged, but not horribly. Got to kind of cross your fingers and hope that he can get that fixed on the stage caution, which we're about 15 laps away from. Eddie Rose, we need a 46-foot hateful chicken. That'd be pretty cool to see down in Ashland, Tennessee, a 46-foot chicken on top of that building.
Can you, Eddie could probably build us one.
There you go. So I'll tell you, Cody Harger is in just beast mode right now. He's got 3.7 seconds gap back to Bobby Hamilton Jr. See Cody entering turn 3, Bobby just exiting 2. Full straightaway advantage for the 66 Plasmine Technologies Camry.
Yeah, and I know Cody's season hasn't went the way he'd like, so I'm sure he is probably more motivated than ever to get a win or get a good finish. Unfortunately, he's had bad luck all year.
You know, you kind of got to think that Cody Harger, with as quick as he's running and still gaining ground on second spot, he's put another 2/10 on Bobby. He's going to have to play tonight relatively conservative, at least as far as pit strategy is concerned. That's kind of a right he's earned with as quick as he's running while still maintaining tires. It's going to be a 4-tire stop at the stage. He's going to hopefully get back out front, get back to the lead, and just keep on trucking, put distance on everybody behind him, and just try and drive this thing all the way to a checkered flag here in another 151 laps.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's definitely the strongest car out there. As you know, he may get into a little bit of lap traffic here before the stage ends. Not sure if he'll catch him or not.
Now, guys that were looking pretty strong earlier on, Will Jones was up in the 2nd spot, then got passed again by Bobby Jr., had contact with Justin Napier. Will Jones now back to the 7th spot, losing positions to Brian Rose and Alan DeFries. Not sure if he's just in ultra conservation mode or if it's due to the damage from that contact with the wall and Justin. Left side looks okay on that number 56 machine, but the right side banged up pretty good.
You know, that's what we were talking about earlier with Brian Rose and patience. You know, we really haven't talked about him much this race, but he has quietly moved into the top 5.
You see Brian Rose in that 5th spot. Alan DeFries picking up the pace here. He's to Brian's inside, trying to battle for that position.
Don't look like he's going to be able to do it quite yet.
Kind of a smart move, really, for the 71. I mean, if you got the opportunity to make a pass and make it clean, maybe give a lap or two and see if you can pull it off. But if it's not working out, drop back and continue to save those tires. I know we've only got about 6 laps before the stage end. But, I mean, you're not going to spend 5, 6, 7, 8 laps battling for a position early on in the race. You're just going to chew up the tires, and it's going to cost you in the end. That said, it looks, well, Will Hewitt has gotten by, but Will Hewitt's a lap down, so I'm not sure what's going on with the 33 there. Now looking at the 89 of Brian Rose, he does have some front end damage to that machine. You see just to the left, driver's left of that front air dam, that front air intake to keep the radiator cool. The splitter's up a little bit, the hood is pinched up just a bit, so it's certainly affecting the aerodynamics of that number 89 Popple Holler Boys Racing entry.
Looks like Will's going to get by him. He's not going to fight him too hard. You know, it's not the positions.
Well, it looks like Will did pit on lap 38. I don't know if that's because he had an incident or if he's just trying to work a different strategy. But yeah, Will Hewitt not on the lead lap.
I think something's happened. It looks like he's 2 laps down. So I think maybe he may have had an issue.
Another wiggle by the 33 off turn 2.
Cody Harger continues to pull away, 4.2 seconds now.
Cody's in traffic too. Starting to deal with some of the Spear brothers here. Ian Spear, first of all, in the 32. Some damage on that machine. Makes quick work of him. Lap 59 goes up on the board.
Yeah, I mean, we may see some racing between the 32 and the 82 of Carson Conway, that lucky dog.
Well, Carson's still on the lead lap, isn't he?
Carson just went a lap down.
Oh, he just got lapped? Okay.
Yeah. This will be the last lap, so it looks like Carson will get the lucky dog.
Carson putting a bit of a distance here on the 32 of Spear. I think Carson's only 1 lap down, though. I think, what'd you say, Ian was multiple down, or is he only 1 lap down as well?
Well, I thought he was 1 lap down, too.
Keep it up, caution is out. Talk to me quick.
There's the caution for the stage.
Caution came on a little bit late. You said it was lap 60, didn't it?
Yeah, it was at the it should have been at the completion of lap 60.
Okay, so that works out. Lap 61 here of 200. Cody Harger, your stage winner. Bobby Hamilton Jr. second. David Bradford from the back of the field works his way up to third. Mark Truxell fourth. Brian Rose sneaks his way into the top 5 for the stage. With that, we're going to take a very short break. We'll be back in just a moment with a word from the Hateful Chicken. Welcome back, everyone, to Dover, Delaware for tonight's Dover 200, lap 64, 200 Superior Class Auto Racing NASCAR Cup Series. Cody Harger, winner of Stage 1. After pit stops, it's still Cody Harger P1, Bobby Jr. second, Mark Truxell up to third, Alan DeFries fourth, Thomas McMullen up to the fifth spot. Ryan Rose lost some spots on that exchange. Not
Yeah,
sure
that's
what
what I
happened.
was looking at. Like you said, he may have stayed in the pits longer to get his damage taken care of.
Yeah, I think you might be right, Eric. It looks like his pit stop time actually in the box was 39.2 seconds. That is not tires and fuel. That's tires, fuel, and some repairs. So good news for Brian, though. Still top 10. Cleaner race car. Going to be a little bit more responsive on the track. Handle better. Turn some better lap times. Overall, it's a good thing. We still got plenty of racing left here from Dover. We're not even halfway, so Ryan Rose certainly has the opportunity to make his way back up into that top 5 or better. So far, though, biggest mover on the track after some issues early on, Alan DeFries. He's up 11 spots in the 4th position. Good opportunity for Alan DeFries to make some moves here in the first half of tonight's race.
Yeah, and if anybody's wondering about David Bradford, like we said earlier, he's got the EOL at the end of the stage, so he'll be starting at the back this stage race.
Yeah, just to clarify on that too. I mean, the EOL, it's an end of line penalty, and we give it to some of these drivers as they win races. Now, David's won 3 in a row, so he's got the EOL at the beginning, he's got the EOL at the stage. He loses a set of tires on the season, and the reason we do that is so that you don't have one guy who's really, really good winning all the races. So it kind of evens it out for everybody. David still manages to get back up to the front, but we'll see how it plays out the rest of the afternoon. Pace cars down, green flag in the air. Cody Harger in the gas. Bobby Hamilton Jr. second. Mark Truxell, not a great restart. Alan DeFries to his outside into turn number 1, but Mark gets the advantage down low. Much faster on that bottom line for the 5 car.
I think Bobby will be aggressive in trying to lead a lap here.
Might be right here, Eric. Taking a look to the inside into turn number 3. Bobby to down low on the 66 of Cody Harger. Making a look to the inside. And here comes Mark Truxell trying for the 2nd spot, trying to get around Cody Harger. Cody gets the momentum off the corner, but Mark is still there down low. Bobby Jr. to the front. Mark Truxell to 2nd. Hasn't gotten the 66 cleared just yet. But while all this goes on, Thomas McMullen taking a look. We do have a caution, though. Yellow is out. Not sure for what. Old Ansley, possibly? Colt and Jason Spear showing that they crashed. Let's see if we can get this replay dialed in.
Yeah, it looks like David Bradford may have got over.
So we'll go full speed here till it looks interesting. Colt Ansley off 4. Ian Spear in the 83 just in front. I'm sorry, Jason Spear. Colt looking high. Spear down low. Off turn 2. Oh, Colt in the wall, comes across. Hard impact by both cars. Little slight impact from the 46. Not sure how bad, but yeah. Tough break for those guys, Colt Ansley and Jason Spear.
Yeah, it looks like Colt just got in the wall, and unfortunately, Jason Spear was there when he came off the wall.
Let's see if we can get another look at that with Colt.
Colt is apologizing on the driver's chat, saying he got loose and in the wall.
Well, I mean, a good move by Colt to call it and say, hey, man, sorry, but it's racing. He didn't do it on purpose. He was in that middle lane, and the car just pushed up. We did see it at one point in practice. Yeah, we'll back it up one more time here. Old Ansley up high, the 86. Already has damage to the right side before this even happens. I'm not sure if he collected the wall previously or not, but you see him, he's a little bit up high Brian Rose slides up as well. Not sure if that influenced his decision to go a little bit higher or what happened there. But, yeah, clips the outside safer barrier, sends it down the banking. Again, banking here at Dover, Delaware, even on the straightaways, pretty significant. Self-cleaning racetrack. Everybody goes down low. You see David Bradford taking that trip down low to avoid. Really would have been better staying up in the high lane. I know it's hard to judge at 175 miles an hour.
Looked like David may have got by with a little glitch on that one to get no damage.
Well, either way, let's see how David looks on my end. It might be different on yours. We'll see. Aerial photography from our blimp number 3. We got drones all over this place. Might be right, Eric. The car looks pretty clean. From the replay, though, man, it looked like he got a pretty good piece of the 83, but so far it looks all right.
Yeah, I think he got lucky there. I mean, the net code can be an enemy, or, you know, it can obviously help you at times, and I think David was a beneficiary on that one.
Yeah, it can certainly save you. Bobby Hamilton Jr. up front. Made a pass here on the 66 of Cody Harger. Kind of figured it was go time early on. Fresh tires to the advantage. Obviously, Bobby and Cody, really everybody that took the opportunity to pit on that last caution certainly got tires without a doubt. But it is so difficult to pass on this racetrack. I think it's really kind of time to do it early on in the run while you've got the grip that you hope to have. Now Bobby's just got to keep the 66 in his rear view.
If the 66 runs like he did that first stage, that's going to be a hard task.
Just it, though. I mean, Cody started up front, and he just stayed there. I mean, we haven't seen the 66 have to repass a lead lap car to this point. Bobby Hamilton Jr. made a pretty clean pass on the 66, almost with ease. Gonna have to see if that Plasmine Technologies Camry can make his way back by the 16 Hateful Chicken Machine, Bobby Hamilton Jr. .72 miles, 128 miles to go. Dover 200. Pace car hits the pit lane. We're going to go back to green here in just a moment. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the gas early. Not too early, though. Pace car hits the pit lane. The leader can go. Gets a pretty good gap back to the 66. Cody's got to track him down before he can even make a thought at trying to pass the 16. Work off turn number 2.
Yeah, Bobby wasted no time there. He was ready to go back racing.
I swear half the field hit the wall off too.
Cody Harger getting back up to Bobby. Looks like he may make a move here.
Bobby defending, taking the middle lane there, not allowing the 66 to dive down low. It's tough to keep the lead and save tires at the same time. It really takes some special talents. But the 66 taking a look in turn 1. Down low goes Cody Harger, forces the 16 up into the middle groove. Give the lead back to Cody Harger off turn number 2. A well-executed pass by the 66.
He's looking very strong right now. This whole race, he's looked strong.
No, I think Cody understands that being out front is really the place to be, especially when you got like Bobby Hamilton Jr. in behind you, not likely to make an uncharacteristic mistake and take you out of the race. Of course, it can happen. We did see Bobby spin all by himself last night in the super late model race on lap 2. Again, I don't want to discredit the 16 too much because that place is a handful and a half, but either way, it can happen to anybody.
And, you know, I'm sure Bobby he knows the 66 is fast, so I'm sure he's trying different strategies and working and getting a game plan together on him.
Bobby's certainly not losing any ground right now to the 66. It was, you know, the first stage, Cody put a gap on everybody, but so far Bobby hanging tough in the tire tracks of the 66. Can't really fit much more between the 16 and the 66 between those bumpers. Maybe a radio flyer wagon, but certainly not a car length. Vincent Short, tiny scrape of the wall off turn number 2. Bobby looking to the inside. Same move, really the same strategy that the 66 worked on Bobby Jr. laps ago for the lead. Bobby tries it again here himself off turn 2 into 3. Still side by side, the 66 with a bit of an advantage clears Bobby back. Hamilton Jr. not giving up the fight down the front stretch. Maybe takes another look or no. Successful defense of the lead by Cody Harder. While that goes down, though, it allows Mark Truxell to work his way into that third spot, tight on the back bumper of the 16.
These three are kind of going away a little bit.
Well, we're going to give this a shot. We're going to try and go through the field. I know there's a battle up front. Eric, please, you let me know if the 16 gets alongside. We'll go back and follow the action for the lead. But first and foremost, we do have Cody Harger in the lead from the pole position. Has led most of the laps here tonight, if not all. I'm not sure if there's been an official lead change at the line. But yes, Cody Harger in that 66 Plasmine Technologies Camry. Out front, looking strong. Bobby Hamilton Jr., though, right on the back bumper, looking strong himself. And that hateful chicken number 16. Some new colors on that machine, if I remember correctly. It looks pretty sharp. Running in the second spot, been challenging Cody for the lead. Back and forth it goes. We'll see more of that later on, I'm sure. Mark Truxell runs in the third spot, that number 5, Lil Tate's Cupcakes machine. Always got his daughter's cupcake company on that race car. Always cool to see. Looks pretty good. We'll make sure we follow up with Mark later on as well. I'm sure he'll be running top 5. Justin Napier, though, back in the 4th position after some troubles early. Justin Napier out of Nashville, Tennessee. He's running in the 4th spot. He's also my best friend and the chosen one, and he's Jeff's son. Don't hold that against him. Alan DeFries running in the 5th position. Again, some issues early, at least as far as some connection problems with the 71. He's gotten away with it so far. Great looking paint scheme, probably one of my favorites that he runs, along with that Smith & Wesson M&P that you see in some other series that he races in. But we the people, we got the flag, World Trade Center, never forget all that as he makes a pass here around Justin Napier for the 4th spot. Thomas McMullen, he's running in the 6th position, also right on that back bumper of teammate Justin Napier. Thomas McMullen, the Prince of Pensacola, out of Pensacola, Florida, won last night in the super late model race at Lucas Oil Raceway. Will Jones, as we talked about, Bad Company Racing, number 56 machine. He's back running with Scar this season, looking strong in the 7th spot. Vincent Short, that 15 U.S. Air Force paint scheme that he's running here this season in the Scar Cup Series. Great looking paint. He's up to the 8th position. Colt Ansley after some troubles, and looks like he has used that fast repair, so that car looking clean once again. Similar issues last night for the 86. Managed to work his way back up as well after getting early fast repairs used. David Bradford in the 10th position after restarting at the end of the field after the stage. David in the number 46 Natural Light entry with Holler Boys Racing. Jesse Bobo running in the 11th position, the number 7 Mountain Dew Chevy Camaro. Brian Rose, Holler Boys Racing, number 89, Popple Digital Business Card. Brian runs in the 12th spot. Carson Conway, also a Holler Boys Racing entry, also with Popple on the machine. Different colors because those Popples come in multiple colors. At Ford Mustang running in the 13th spot, last car on the lead lap. Back up front, Cody Harger still leads. Pressure has reduced from the 16 of Bobby Hamilton Jr., though he's still there in striking distance, just 3.5 tenths back from the 66.
Yeah, it looks like Cody's pulling away just a little by little.
You know, it seems to be that Cody's got the long run car. We saw a little bit of this at the end of stage 1. He really put a gap on everybody behind him. Almost hit, I believe, 4 seconds at the end of stage 1. So far, so good for Cody Harger.
He's definitely got the car to beat this race.
Yeah, Cody definitely looking really strong here this afternoon in Dover, Delaware. Rhythm, consistency, so important here at a track like this, but you got to be quick. You got to save the car. Cody doing a good job of that so far. We're almost to halfway.
Yeah, I think he's led every lap, but maybe 4, 5, 6 laps, something like that.
It's interesting, too, because Cody did not have a good pit stop, almost 2 seconds slower than Bobby Jr.
Well, I was watching the pit stops, and Cody kind of got a little help there. There was a lap car in between them, so they were a space when they could hit. So, you know, Cody got to hit his stall. He had a little bit of a head start on it.
Being the pole sitter, you get a pretty good pit stall selection as well. Certainly helps. Neil Quick chiming in. Looks like fun. Neil Quick running the SCAR series as well. Not in the Cup side yet. Ran super late models last night. Pretty, well, showed his intestinal fortitude last night. Had made a pit stop at lap 52 of 100. And then everybody pit late for tires. He stayed out. Only car on the track to do so. Only cost him 1 position as Neil ended up finishing in the 2nd place. Pretty gutsy move by Neil Quick. He made it pay off, but hopefully we'll get to see Neil run the Cup Series here next season. Taking a look at Thomas McMullen, last night's winner, marred back in traffic, still in the 6th spot. Started 12th, so he's worked his way up through the field. Good exit for the 0-2. Mark Truxell, not so much, maybe saving a bit more than the 0-2. Follows Mark into turn 3 and 4. Will Hewitt up high. Will Jones tucking in behind Thomas McMullen, as well as Vincent Short behind Will. David Bradford just kind of hanging out in that 10th position. I can only imagine David's got a plan here for late in the run. We've got about 19 laps before we get to the end of this 2nd stage.
I know David's sick, but that don't fool me. I know, ooh, Bobby Jr. looked like he may have scrapped the wall. I know David's got a plan. I mean, he may not feel good, but I know he's going to be in it to win it. He's probably got his game plan ready and enforced.
More on that in a minute, but Bobby Hamilton Jr., Eric, you are absolutely right. Some damage to the right side of that machine. Right front fender damage. The hood is pushed up a little bit. Right side is pretty much pancaked. Going to lose a lot of side force on that Mustang GT. Trouble for Bobby Hamilton Jr. here midway through this second stage. Is going to have to effect some repairs to be competitive the rest of the afternoon. As far as David is concerned, though, absolutely right. He is a little under the weather, but I don't know. Race car drivers, once they get in the race car, they're not sick anymore. You know, it kind of makes everything go away, especially if you're running well. First stage was a pretty great stage, really, for David Bradford, at the back of the pack, all the way up into the top 5. Kind of muddled around the 10th position now. We'll see how it shakes out here in the last stage of the race.
This may just be kind of like Jordan with the flu game. We may have Bradford with the flu race.
I only assume you just made a basketball reference that I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, that was the old school basketball, the old days, back when it was good.
It's probably the only time I ever watched. I was a little kid, but
yeah, and anybody listening, Jordan is the GOAT. Okay, case closed.
I'll give you that.
I think it's definitely affecting Bobby Jr. though, as it looks like he is definitely not as fast as he once was.
Yeah, he's slipped back to the nose of Alan DeFries. Alan's going to have an opportunity here to take over that second spot in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, Alan, looks like Alan's going high now. Bobby looks like Bobby's letting him go. He knows he's hurt, he knows he's damaged.
No argument from the 16 for sure. He's going to have to get that damage repaired at the end of the stage. I'm sure he'll be in the running here late at the end of the race, but for now, no sense in fighting when you got a damaged race car.
Yeah, I mean, he's just got to nurse it, 12 more laps, and then we'll get a stage caution. He'll be able to go in and get that taken care of.
Neil Quick made a comment about Bobby Jr. dealing with dirty air. I did not see him make contact with the wall, but that would kind of go to that argument. If you lose the nose, the dirty air, you don't have the front downforce, tends to understeer or push off the corner. Going to put that machine into the safer barrier. Very well could have been what happened to Bobby Hamilton Jr. laps ago.
I'm not sure if that was it. He was kind of by himself when it happened. Cody had a pretty good lead on him. It looked like he just pushed up into the wall.
Pushed for sure, but I mean, even a half a straightaway here at Dover at the speeds that they're running, it's still enough to cut a hole in the air, take some off the nose. Anything's possible, but
it's definitely put a damper on this stage for him.
Going to hurt the 16 in the points as far as the stage is concerned. Vincent Short getting by. David Bradford taking a look underneath. So is Cole Ansley.
Justin Napier out of nowhere goes into second place up front.
Justin may have been saving for late in the run. It's paying off. He's in the second position here late in the second stage. Again, trying to score some very important stage points. Oh, Alan DeFries real loose off turn number 2. Cuts across the nose. Thomas McMullen saves it. Doesn't make contact with the wall or anybody else. Does give the position to the high side to the 0-2 of Thomas McMullen. Will Jones going to try and follow suit.
It's just amazing, you know, with as important as tire wear is. Last lap, Cody Harvey was the fastest, followed by Vince Short as far as lap times.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. A 24:02 for Cody Harger that previous lap. Fastest on the racetrack. Again, clean air is king, though. That makes a huge difference, especially with these cars. Even though a lot of that downforce that they make is generated from the floor of the race car, dirty air still makes a difference.
looks like he'll be closing in on Carson Conway and Jeff Napier coming up here.
Neil Quick offering a little bit of insight also into the chat, talking about the inconsistencies with aerodynamics. Really have to keep the inside of the lead car, keep that nose planted and not use up the right front tire. Makes perfect sense if you ask me. These cars have been very hard to predict when it comes to aerodynamics, but hopefully we get some more data once we start running them for real. Will Jones still taking a look here at the inside of Thomas McMullen. Thomas running in the 4th spot. Will Jones would love to get up there in the points. He's got a long road to hoe. Get up and qualify for the playoffs this season. Again, he has not run all the races so far. Lap 1:18 up on the board, almost to the end of the 2nd stage. Back up front, Cody Harger, of course, still leads. Carson Conway trying to battle and stay on the lead lap. Lap and a half to go before that stage comes to an end.
It looks like Cody's doing him a solid, and he's just going to ride behind him and let him stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, I mean, either way, Carson's going to stay on the lead lap. If he stays on because Cody keeps him up in front, or if Cody passes him, he's still the first car lap down, so Carson would get the lucky dog either way. So no sense in running it out, no sense in chewing up more than you need to in that 66, so it works out for everybody involved.
Yeah, that would be the end of the stage if Cody passes the start-finish line here.
Cody Harger wins stage number 2. That's 2 stages so far on the afternoon.
Caution.
Justin Napier, an impressive 2nd place finish in stage 2. Mark Truxell, same thing, 3rd. Thomas McMullen, again, looks strong at the beginning of the stage, held on to it, finishes 4th. Will Jones up to the 5th position in the stage. And David Bradford did quietly work his way into the 6th position after starting at the very back after stage 2 because of that EOL penalty. We'll have to see now. We're going into our final stage of the afternoon. Fresh tires and fuel to get us home to the end. We're going to take a short break and a word from the Hateful Chicken, and we'll be back to cover all the action. Welcome back to Dover, Delaware for tonight's Superior Class Auto Racing NASCAR Cup Series Dover 200. Lap 123 of 200 in the books. Cody Harger won stage 1, wins stage 2. Pit stops complete. Right now it's showing Cody Harger in the 11th position, though. Not sure what's going on here, if we got an issue with pace car location or what happened. Maybe a pit penalty? I don't know. We're going to have to see here in a moment.
I'm going to go back and look at Cody's pit stop and see if I see anything.
Like, Cody had a relatively clean stop, 15 flat. Now, Justin Napier, on the other hand, a 48-second pit stop. Justin may have been doing some repairs. Well, there's Melinda. Better late than never. Thanks for checking in, Melinda. Melinda Lawson Hamilton saying Hamilton Jr. number 16 into the chat. I don't think I've heard from you yet tonight. Yep, that's the first one.
It looked like Cody just let everybody by, so I'm not sure if he maybe got a penalty on pit road or what happened.
Well, I mean, he's listed as, looks like the last car in the lead lap. Maybe Jeff Napier.
Cody's been so dominant. Maybe he's just trying to come from the back now. But it looks like he'll restart in 13th here.
Eric, I don't know if you can. Maybe check over into the chat and see if you've got an update as to what happened with Cody Harger. You don't need to pull him up from the broadcast, but see if we can get an idea of what happened.
Okay.
Lap 125 and 200. Mark Truxell, your new leader. Thomas McMullen to his outside. Control car is the 5 down low. Pace car lights are off. We'll hit the pit lane here in just a moment. Field rolling through turn number 4. Restarts on the 5. He's in the gas.
Green flag.
Flag is up. We are back under green here at Dover. Good restart by the 5 and the 0-2 of Thomas McMullen. No, Melinda, I know you were watching. I just haven't heard from you, that's all. No worries. I ain't mad at you. Mark Truxell putting a gap already to the 0-2 of Thomas McMullen, about 3/10 back. Eric, what'd you find out? Anything?
He actually was 1 mile an hour over on pit road, so he got a black flag.
So a pit road speeding penalty for Cody Harger here in the late stages of the Dover 200, the end of stage 2. Cody Harger in the 12th position, going to have to battle back to the front. He wants to take home a trophy away from the Monster Mile here in Dover.
Yeah, he said he was looking in his mirror to see what was going on behind him, and was 1 mile an hour over and got the black flag.
Speaking of which, though, Mark Truxell, our leader, has just turned the fastest lap of the race, a 22.61 second lap for the 5. .70 laps to go here in the Dover 200. Mark Truxell, your leader. Thomas McMullen, second. Will Jones is up to third. Bobby Hamilton Jr. running in fourth, and Cole Ansley's fifth. Melinda, it looks like you might have clicked on the Holler Boys Racing team page, which also has the broadcast, but I only see the chat feed on the YouTube page and the HBR TV Facebook page. So that would make sense. Neil Quick, nitrous. No, I don't think he's running nitrous. I think these guys are saving. It's a 70-plus lap final stage here in Dover this afternoon, so tires are going to come into play here for sure, especially if we take it green all the way to the finish. I'm not picking on Mark Truxall, as he's usually really good at saving his equipment until late in the race. Again, he won Daytona, led the last lap, and nothing more. But he is turning some pretty quick laps right now compared to everybody else. Second place, Thomas McMullen, no slouch, at 23.19 to Mark Truxell's 22.97. He's running pretty hot laps. Don't know if the tires can make it that far on the run. We're going to have to see.
Yeah, Mark looks like he's trying to check out with these guys. Hopefully he's saving something. And, you know, this changes everything. You know, the 66 has been fast all day of Cody Harger, and now we'll have to see how well he can do after coming through the field.
We've got a change in position here for second. Will Jones has worked his way around Thomas McMullen. Bobby Hamilton Jr. working on the same. Move Bobby Jr. up to the third position here off turn number 2. Thomas McMullen fourth. Vincent Short running in the 5th spot. Cody Harger's worked his way back up to the 7th position, gaining some ground already here early on in stage 3.
Yeah, I think he'll make his way back up, but you know, I'm anxious to see what happens now that he actually has to change his line and race some guys. You know, he's done a great job of saving his tires all race. We'll see if this changes it.
Well, he just made a pass around the 86 of Cole Ansley. Move Harger up to the 6th position. Next in the crosshairs is the 15 of Vincent Short. About a 1.3 second gap between Harger and the 15 of Short before Cody can get back into the top 5. Plenty of laps left to do it. If he just runs his race, I can certainly see the 66 back up there challenging for a win here, as long as he can stay out of trouble and keep the fenders on that Plasmine Technologies Camry.
Yeah, he'll definitely, you know, the way he's ran his race, he'll definitely.
Looking out the back window from the Vincent Short number 15 machine, back to Cody Harger as they work off turn number 2. Cody already cut down 0.3 of a deficit up to Vincent Short. Keep an eye on this later on. Won't be very long before the 66 catches the 15. We're going to have a battle for the 5th position.
The thing that isn't very good on Cody's side is he's gaining on Vince, but he's not gaining on the leader, you know. I know it's important to have the clean air, and, you know, that could be a big advantage for Mark and, you know, a disadvantage for Cody trying to run him down.
Well, Cody was a 0.5 faster than our leader last lap.
Yeah, that was I see that was the first time he had gained on him. He gained on him that lap too, it looks like. Will Jones coming out turn 2, getting as close to the wall as possible without hitting it, trying to run our leader down right there.
It's a fine line to walk for sure, but if you can make it work, there's some speed to be gained.
I think anytime I see a wreck, I say, oh, and it about came out right there. I thought he was in the wall. He done a great job. All right, thank you.
Mark Truxell continues to lead here, lap 146 of 200. Will Jones gaining ground on him, though. He's about 3/10 back at this point and closing. Will Jones certainly going to apply some pressure here to the 5 late in this race. Meanwhile, Bobby Hamilton Jr. up to the 3rd spot. McMullen to 4th. Vince Short is 5th. Cody Harger still in the 6th position. Certainly closed down that gap on the 15. He's going to see if he can catch and pass Vincent Short for the top 5 position.
Looks like we'll have, what, 50 to go at the finish line?
Yeah, it looks like about 50 to go. Yeah, lap 150 clicked off here as we cross the line. So yeah, 50 to go before we wrap things up here in Dover. Cody Harger has caught the 15 of Vince Short. About to put the pressure on that Air Force machine for the 5th position.
Talking to a lot of these drivers before the race, they were expecting a lot of cautions. You know, that's one thing we haven't had. I think we've had one caution other than the stage cautions.
Yeah, that's a really good point, too. And we kind of talked about it earlier on about last night. The drivers were saying this is going to be a complete nightmare. It's going to be a caution fest. You know, the tires, they don't grip up until they wear in, and everybody's loose. And well, last night we made it to halfway with one caution. So, and tonight seems to be kind of the same thing, as you were saying. It's been relatively clean. Again, knock on wood. We don't want to see this turn into a nightmare, but it's been a clean race. Cody Harger to the inside of the 15 of Vincent Short. Takes a look off too. Now Colt Ansley taking a look inside the 66 of Cody Harger. Sneaks in and takes the position away from the 66. Move Colt Ansley to the P6 position. While we talk about that, it looks like Will Hewitt has crashed and maybe a little bit of contact there with a 66 and the 86. Through 1 and 2, they get away with it, no problem.
Yeah, it's looking like Cody's car is not handling very well when he's under someone with the air.
Again, dirty air playing a major factor here. It cost Bobby Jr., put him in the wall, it seems, and right now, Cody Harger kind of relegated to that 7th position. Colt Ansley working his way by. Now Colt's going to kind of try and track down Vincent Short as well. While all this goes down, let's see if we can catch up and see what happened with Will Hewitt. Speed it up for everybody. See Will Hewitt down into 1 and 2. By himself. Loose off 2, saves it. Oh, overcorrects, puts it in the wall into 3. Down on the apron, and that's all she wrote. Tough afternoon for the 33 of Will Hewitt. Thomas McMullen still running in the 4th spot, but right on that back bumper, Vincent Short. Vincent looking a little racy back behind that Murder Creek Distillery machine of Thomas McMullen. Almost seems Vince is a little bit quicker than the 0-2, but it's going to take a good run to get back by.
Yeah, you know, this season's not going as planned for Vince, and you know, he hasn't been able to get consistency. And you know, this race so far, I know it's not over yet, but you know, Vince has been consistently up towards the front.
Vince has certainly run into his share of bad luck as well. Just kind of got to put a complete race together and just take what the car will give you. Running in the 5th position thus far would be a great finish if he could bring it home top 5, but I'm sure he's hungry for more. Thomas McMullen, the only one standing in the way of a 4th place finish, but Vince has backed off a bit. Again, lap 159, 41 to go, maybe a little bit less. Maybe it's time to save a little and see what you can come up with when the chips are down here at the end of the stage 3, the final stage of this afternoon's race. Taking a look back up front, Mark Truxell still your leader. Will Jones has tracked him down a bit, but only 0.4 of a second back to the number 56 machine. Not sure if Will is just kind of riding around, biding his time, again, saving his stuff, cooling those tires down, getting ready to make a run here late. Again, 39 laps to go here at Dover. Will Jones is definitely good at saving his equipment till late. Okay, he's no slouch in these cars by any means. Definitely not a rookie. Been doing this a long time. Very similar to David Bradford in that respect. It's time to start calculating and coming up with a game plan for later on in this race. Not forgetting that he's got Bobby Hamilton Jr. and that Ford Mustang to his back bumper.
Yeah, and this will be the longest run that we have had on a set of tires. So, you know, saving them is going to play a bigger factor here.
Well, that's the other thing, too, and there was some talk amongst the drivers pre-race that, you know, this is one of those tracks where you could see tire failures. The tire model on these race cars are kind of up in the air, kind of unproven. Don't have any real-world data. We've got some, but not a ton to really apply to how long do they last before they really and truly fail. So if this being the longest run of the day, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some right front failures. I hope we don't. I hope we run this thing green to the end. But part of me also kind of hopes maybe we get a caution. These guys still have tires in the pit lane with the exception of, well, maybe David Bradford. He may still have that 3rd set. We haven't really had any opportunities to take tires aside from our stage break. So a lot of strategy that could come into play here late, especially if we get a yellow.
Looks like Cody Harger's trying again to get by Cole. Pay clearing.
Cody Harger's definitely got Colt cleared into turns 1 and 2. Move Harger back to the 6th spot. Gonna have to try and track down Vincent Short once again.
Vince is fast. He gets to the back of Thomas though, and it's like he just stalls out.
Well, again, I mean, it's these cars at this track especially, they're running pretty quick times, 170 plus mile an hour for the fast guys. That's going to create dirty air, big time dirty air. You'll see Vince sliding up a little bit high and put a little bit more air on the nose. Get in too close, you lose all that front downforce. You're likely to push off the corner. You don't want to put it in the wall, but so far Vince doing a good job keeping a handle on that number 15, but he's got to try and find a way around the 0-2. Jesse Myers, speaking of Vince Short, go Vince, go.
Here he goes.
Taking a peek to the inside of Thomas McMullen off turn number 4. Thomas has the momentum down the front straightaway into turn number 1. A little wiggle from the 0-2. Vince keeps it down on the bottom. Well, speaking of the Vince Short fan club, I haven't seen Nikki Short in a while. Wonder if Nikki's watching tonight.
I would say she is.
More than likely, but she's pretty vocal in the chat most of the time. Got Terry Ansley said hello a while back. Co-team Colt.
Now, I think Colt is in 6th. Oh, Colt's wrecking.
Colt trouble
on
off
the
turn
car.
4 down the
Car.
front stretch. We've got a caution here, lap 172,
Kinda talk me through what's going on
28
again.
to go. No fast repair remaining for Colt Ansley. Unfortunately, this is going to be trouble. We're going to have to see what kind of repairs that number 86 is going to require. Tough break by the 86. Let's take a look at the replay, see what happened to Colt Ansley.
Terry, Steve, Jinx. Plain and simple.
Broadcaster's curse. It happens again. See Colt working his way through 3 and 4, it appears. No, this is off 2, so we'll speed things up a bit. Used to be not early enough. Now it's too soon. Either way, into turn 3. Turn 4, we'll slow it down now. Look at the 86. Watch those rear tires compared to the front. You see he's already loose. He's already got some right wheel input into it. Drifting around turn number 4. Really, almost a really good save for a moment there, but it catches on him and he gets it crossed up on the right side. Now it's kind of tank slapping on him a bit. At the line he had it, tries to avoid the 32, but now an overcorrection down low. Again, tough break for Colt Ansley. It shows you how tough this place is, how difficult these race cars here in the Next Gen Cup car are to drive. Talented driver like Colt Ansley losing it kind of all by himself here at Dover.
Terry Ansley said, thanks, Steve.
Sorry, Terry. It seems to be happening a lot lately. Anybody I talk about, all of a sudden they're in a wall. Four tires and fuel for the 66 of Cody Harger. Not sure where everybody else ended up. I can only imagine everybody got at least 4. Because, you know, that's all they can fit. Jesse Bobo, though, looks like made a strategy move here. He's got a 10-second stop. That's definitely not a 4-tire stop. It's 2 at best.
The way the tires are here, that's a risky move. We'll have to see how that works out.
Well, it is crunch time. Cautions breed cautions. 26 laps to go here at Dover. Gonna have to see how it pans out. Maybe we're not done having yellows. You never know. Jesse Meyer, stop talking about Vince. Vince who?
That just done it. You just done it with that one, Steve.
Sorry, Terry. Hope you forgive me. Just keep watching. So Mark Truxell gets back out in front after his pit stop. Good stop by the 5, 14.9 seconds in his box. Will Jones was a 14.73, another 14.87 for Vince Short. Good stop by the 15. Couple of quick stops here on pit lane late in the race. Good move. Top 5 before the restart: Mark Truxell, Bobby Jr., Will Jones, Thomas McMullen, and Cody Harger. Finally back into that top 5 position. Picks up a position on the pit lane over Vince Short. Again, Vince had a great stop, just wasn't quite enough to beat out the 66.
Yeah, I would say he's probably the biggest gainer from this caution.
Got to give a call to Mark Truxell here. Really good day so far. He's currently leading. Led a good portion of this stage thus far. He's up 10 spots from qualifying. caution lights are off, going green the next time by.
You think it goes green till the end?
Is this a prop bet? What are we doing here?
I'm just asking. I mean, we'll have what, about 24 to go, 23 to go, and you know, these guys know that the wind's on the line, so I think they're going to be more aggressive.
It's a tough call. I mean, I wouldn't have predicted that Cole Ansley would have lost it off turn 4 by himself to bring out a yellow. So I'm going to say no. I don't think we make it to the end without at least one more. Could be wrong, but I'm going with we got at least one more in the book before this is said and done.
I agree with you on that one.
Pace car hits the apron in the pit lane, clear of the racing surface. Mark can go whenever he pleases. Will Jones tries to time it, doesn't make it work. Truxell off and running. Good start by Bobby Jr. as well. He misses his entry into turn 1, though. Slides up on the high side. Will Jones is going to cut across the nose. We got trouble on the backstretch. Cody Harder involved. Justin Napier and others. Cole Ansley, Justin Napier. Brian Rose collects Justin Napier in turn number 3. Big trouble on the backstretch here at the restart. What did I say? Cautions breed cautions. Not a broadcaster's curse when you predict it. So let's go back, take a look, try to get some wide angle here. We'll go to the blimp this time.
That's, from what I'm seeing, it's unfortunate net code between Cody and Vince. I could be wrong, but that's what the initial look is showing.
See the 66 kind of all by himself at the line. Got Vince Short behind him. David Bradford just barely to the inside of the 15. This is entry into turn 1 and 2. Incident seems to happen off turn number 2. You see Vince going to the outside. Justin Napier following side by side with David. Yeah, that was a net code all day. Still a little wiggle from the 15, but it looked like that the 66 got turned around before contact was even made.
It looked like they were on the course to hit, and, you know, it may not have happened, but it looked like netcode was the main cause.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing 150 plus miles an hour. If you hit legitimately a little bit later than where the net code indicated, you don't have as much steering wheel input into it at that point. Maybe you can save it without any issues. It's a tough call, but yeah, definitely net code involved there. It's a tough break. Once again, Cody Harder and Vincent Short coming together here in a cup race. We talked about the bad luck for the 66. It shows its ugly head once again. It is what it is. Under yellow, 22 laps to go.
Yeah, man, I hate that. I mean, Cody was putting on a good run. Vince was putting on a good run. I know their season hasn't went the way they wanted to, and then, you know, that happens. You know, I feel bad for both these guys. Which it's not over, but still.
I want to go back and take a look at it from the roof cam on Vince Short just to see how bad it truly looked.
It's just unfortunate.
So here we are. We're in the restart. This is at the line. We'll go back. Now we're on the roof of Vince Short. See him working to the outside of the 66. We'll slow it down as they come off turn number 4. You might not be able to see the net code part of this. Now, you kind of do.
Yeah, it's just highly unfortunate for both of these guys.
Well, is what it is. Once again, it is racing. It's close quarters. It is sim racing. We're dealing with computers and internet connections and everything else. It's certainly entertaining. It's still competition, but we are certainly at the mercy of that net code at times. Unfortunately, on this next-gen Cup car, at least right now, it does seem to be somewhat common on this car. I'm sure they will work the bugs out of that going forward, but it's going to take some time to right that. We got to deal with it for now. We got an update coming from iRacing, I think, on the 7th, coming up here next week. Hopefully that's squared away before we roll into the next race here with the Superior Class Auto Racing Series. Speaking of next races, next Monday, we're December 6th. It's the Monster Mile 125. We'll be back here at Dover. That's for the ARCA Series, Superior Class Auto Racing ARCA Series, 125 lapper, 125 miles here at Dover International Speedway. And next stop coming up on the Cup schedule, NASCAR Cup schedule for the Superior Class Auto Racing will be at Kentucky Speedway. 134 lap, 200-mile event there next Tuesday, December 7th. Tune in about 8:45 to Holly Boys Racing TV for that event.
I will be out that race. I will be at the Greenbrier, good old West Virginia.
Mr. Fancy Pants over here is going to the Greenbrier, so it's going to be a solo show for me. I'm going to see if I can recruit anybody that might crash out before it gets too far in the running to join me, but if it's just me, we'll make it work. Little push by Bobby Jr. to the 5 of Mark Truxell on the restart. Bobby gets off terribly. See what happened with Bobby Jr. Caution out once again. Field got stacked up on the restart. Cody Harger, David Bradford, Brian Rose, Ian Spear.
Yeah, it looked like something happened with Bobby, and that caused a chain reaction.
Well, Bobby tried to jump to start, I think, and get a good jump on Mark Truxell. You'll see the 16 here in the replay. We'll go slow with it. Now we'll speed it up here. This is coming to the green. Pace car is already in the pit lane. You see the 16 car, Bobby Hamilton Jr. behind the 5 of Truxell. Bobby tries to go and just bumps the 5, which checks up the 16 real bad, which moves him into the 46 of Bradford, gets him into Jeff Napier, checks up with the 15 of Vincent Short. Cody Harger gets tangled up in it again. Some more terrible luck for the 66. It's going to be a rough evening for the 66. Unfortunately, that's how it's going to go.
Yeah, that will probably do him in by the looks of the damage. It looks like he had already used his quick repair. And, I know Cody wears his emotions on his sleeves, and that just, that's a tough deal for him.
Let's watch it in real time here off turn 4. Everybody gets checked up. Carson Conway does not get a great restart either, but seems to be okay. But David Bradford cutting across the nose after contact with Bobby puts him into the 40 of Napier, which pushes him into the 66 of Harger, and that's all she wrote. Got some takers maybe on pit lane. No, Thomas McMullen took a dip down to the apron, but comes back up onto the baking.
What about Carson Conway if he's able to pull this finish off? He's running in 5th right now.
Absolutely. Carson Conway looking at the top 5. He's up 11 positions from qualifying. Could be a good finish. He was looking strong last night as well for a while and got mixed up in somebody else's mess, I think. 17 to go. If Carson can keep it up in that top 5, would be a great finish for that green and white number 82 Popple machine.
Are we done with caution, Steve?
I'm going to go with no.
No, we're gonna have another one.
I think we got one more.
One more.
Speaking of cautions, as a result of that last restart, we'll go with Carson Conway and look at the front end. Try and get a peek at Bobby Jr. Bobby in that yellow and red machine up in the high side. Some damage to the rear bumper of that machine. Not sure how much that's going to affect the performance of that Mustang, but we're going to find out. 16 to go here. Mark Truxell, your leader. Will Jones to his outside. We're going to go green, I think, next time by. Already getting formed up here. Everybody's anxious to get back to green.
Gonna have a good old shootout here.
Now, keep in mind, everybody pit, I think it was lap 173. Jeff Napier's got tires from lap 183, but he was involved in that mess. Not sure if he had a quick repair left to use or not. We're going to have to find out. I think David Bradford may have... Nope, he's got some pretty significant damage still. Jeff looks clean, hasn't burned a fast repair till now, so he's got fresh tires and a clean race car. Cole Ansley, definitely no fast repair for that one. And Justin Napier, same situation. Beaten and battered, still running.
Let's go racing.
It's go time, baby. Pace car's in, green flag in the air. Mark Truxell in the gas.
Green flag.
Good start. Better start by Will Jones. Got some speed on the high side. Bobby Jr. in behind. Mark Truxell down low. Can Will clear them 5 off turn 2? Looks like he may have him cleared. He does. No, we got trouble. Alan DeFries wrecks on the backstretch. Collects the 40 of Jeff Napier.
It's all on you, man. It's all on you. You make the call here.
I think I'm 3 for 3 on yellows right now.
Yeah, you don't need to say anything else but yellow.
It's interesting that yellow flag came out. It was clearly a wreck with Alan DeFries, but I've got nothing on my data saying so. Let's see if I can pull up the Let's see here, the flag.
I just looked at it, and it was Allen coming out turn 2 is when it happened.
Yeah, I'm just backing it up here. Let's take a look.
Highly unfortunate for him.
Taking a look from the blimp, again off turn number 2 to his outside of Carson Conway. Plenty of space there, not like it's a aero problem. You can see the wheel turned hard left before he hit the wall. Hitting the wall kind of sets that right front, then sends the 71 down into that inside safer barrier. Collects the 40 of Napier. Jeff gets up into the 46 of Bradford just so slightly. But here we are. Another caution here late in the going of the Dover 200. I'm just making predictions, Terry. I'm not making it happen. Harry Ansley she's telling me to zip it on the cautions.
I'm not going to ask you this time. Let's don't even talk about it.
I think we're good. We're good to the end.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have about an 8 or 9 lap shootout maybe when we go green.
We'll see. Caution light's still on. Anticipation's getting me here, Eric. It's been a pretty good race so far. Relatively clean, but some action here late, stage 3.
Absolutely. That's why, you have to stay and watch this whole race, Last week, the fastest car for most of the race didn't win. And it's the same thing this week, so you never know what's going to happen.
Luck really does play a part. You can be quick all you want. You look at Cody Harger, looked dominant here tonight. Still a decent points night with the stage wins. Not going to get the finish that he wanted as he sits in the 15th spot right now, still on pit lane.
Yeah, and I'm sure, you know, Cody, reflecting back on that pit road penalty, you know, this would probably be a different race if he wouldn't have got that speeding penalty.
Terry's telling me not to say anybody's name anymore, just the car numbers. Well, the car number's half the deal. I mean, that's not going to stop a jinx. Unless Terry's knows some kind of, like, bad juju rules. I don't know.
You're just going to have to, you know, say what color car they're in.
What?
If we're talking about Bobby, just say yellow.
I didn't say anything about Allen when he wrecked. Jesse Myers. I vote for not even the number. Well, I got to call the race, Jesse. What are we going to do here? Yeah, that car right there, the one in your screen. Oh, all 5 of them. Oh, one of them's doing something.
The yellow car, the white car, the green car.
What if there's more than one yellow car?
Say the hateful chicken yellow car.
Pace car lights are out. We're going green next time by. I got to call the race how I know how to call a race, Jesse. It is what it is. I think we're good to the end, though. Looks like Will Jones actually may have gotten the lead on that. Jesse, I can't change everything. I just can't do it. Not in the heat of the moment. I need to practice this on my own, change out my whole way of doing things. It's just not going to happen. Anna Garza, now you think it's hilarious. Keep quiet. Has Anna been in the chat tonight? Is this her first hello? Let me go back here. Eddie, Mike, Terry.
I think she was in the other chat.
It should. Oh, which other chat? It still show up.
It doesn't. That may be something we need to look at.
No, because I've got notations here from Facebook and YouTube. Maybe they were in the Holler Boys Racing team stream. Either way, pace cars in. Will Jones underway. Green flag in the area. Great restart by the 56, Bobby Jr. Also taking up that second spot. Mark Truxell back to third. Tough restart for the 5 as he's under pressure now from Thomas McMullen. Thomas takes that third spot away from Mark. 15 is short, into the wall, off turn number 2, saves it, gathers it up. Vincent Carson Conway and David Bradford, 5th, 6th, 7th here with 8 laps to go. Holler Boys Racing teammates battling for position here late. Jesse Bobo in the mix as well, that number 7 Mountain Dew machine. Back out front, Will Jones continues to lead. Bobby Hamilton Jr. second. About 0.4 of a second back from the 56. Top 2 out to a pretty good advantage here relatively quickly after the restart.
Will Jones looks like he's got a rocket ship right now.
Yeah,
Bobby's
clean air.
a wall. Looks like David Bradford moves into 5th.
A little bit of damage on the right side of that number 16 Hateful Chicken machine. Damage still on the 46 of David Bradford. He's making it work. Still running top 5 here with 4 laps to go. Cole Ansley running 11th.
looks like if nothing happens, Will Jones put her in victory lane.
That's a great way to curse the leader. Everybody's
Now
blaming me for all this.
we'll see what happens in 2 laps. If he hits the wall by himself here, I'll take full blame. But I think you're more to blame about everything tonight.
Okay. Will Jones working through turns 3 and 4. Going to take a look here, seeing the white flag. One more time around the Monster Mile in the Dover 200, and Will Jones will have a victory to his name.
Here goes Thomas battling Bobby for second.
Will Jones into 3 and 4 for the final time. The number 56 Bad Company Racing Chevy Camaro off turn number 4 at the stripe. He's going to win the Dover 200 Monster Mile Trophy. The Miles, the Monster Trophy, will be his. Second place, Thomas McMullen edges out Bobby Jr. Bobby's in the 3rd spot. Mark Truxell brings it home 4th. Unfortunately disappointing. He probably thought he had a win in hand. David Bradford brings it home in the top 5. Vincent Short 6th. Jesse Bobo 7th. Carson Conway top 10 finish for the 82 in the 8th spot. Jeff Napier 9th. Brian Rose was 10th.
Will Jones burning them down. So if you're seeing the cars go by on the broadcast that normally don't show where they did have the tire glitch, they have selected the top 3 and 2 random drivers to take a picture in front of a certain target to make sure, you know, everybody used their correct amount of tires.
There's your top 3. Will Jones, Thomas McMullen, and Bobby Hamilton Jr. We're going to take a short break and have our top 3 interviews in store. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dover, Delaware. The Dover 200 is in the books. Congratulations to our winner, Will Jones. We're going to go down and have a quick chat with our winner, Will Jones. Will Jones, it's Steve and Eric in the HBR TV broadcast booth. Do you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Let me turn up your volume here just a bit. Will Jones, congratulations on the victory. Weren't really up in that lead position up until late in the race. Was it tire strategy or just it was go time and time to grab that next gear and go for the win? Tell us how you did it.
Well, I had some issues there in the first part of the race. Me and Justin got together, which was totally my fault. I switched over from running an Oculus headset back to a screen, and I kind of had something happen on my end there and caused me to get into Justin. But, yeah, I mean, the second half of the race, I just kind of wanted to get a feel for the track and the limits of the car. And I saw that on the long run that I really couldn't do anything. So this last stage, I just I went all out. If it would have stayed green, I don't know if I could have got by Mark. But luckily we had the caution come in, got tires, and I was able to get by him.
Well, tell us about tire conservation throughout the night, throughout the afternoon. Obviously, this place chews up tires like nobody's business. What did you have to do to kind of save tires throughout the run to make sure you're still up there, not losing a lap, so to speak? Some of these guys were not able to stay on the lead lap throughout a stage. What did you have to do to save those tires?
Man, I'll be honest with you. I tried saving tires in the first segment and the second segment, and it just seemed like the more I tried to save, the worse my tires were. So I just figured that the last stage I was going to try to go up there and get the lead, which I think I was like 1.5 seconds behind Mark, and I run him down and got within a tenth or two, and I just couldn't do nothing with him. But like I say, it is what it is. It played out, but I ain't figured out the tires. It's my second race back, in a while. So I mean, it's taken me a while to kind of figure this car out.
Well, these cars are certainly a handful, that's for sure. You've proven that you're a heck of a race car driver here. Only 2 races back in with Scar. You've done a great job. You've put it in a victory lane. Congratulations for that. Before we let you go out of the booth here, who do you have to thank for helping you get things done here in the Scar Cup Series?
Yeah, I want to thank the guys that put the league on. They work hard to put on a good show. Naturally, want to thank the Hateful Chicken for being a sponsor of the league. Want to thank y'all for broadcasting, man. Y'all do an excellent job. And thank all the fans for watching. Appreciate it, and hopefully I can get to talk to them again on here.
Well, we'll certainly appreciate the pat on the back on our end. You guys make it easy by putting on a good show. We just get to call it. So thanks again for that. We'll maybe see you next week at, I think it's Kentucky we're going to run.
Yeah, man. Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Congratulations. Will Jones, P1 here at the Dover 200. He's our winner in the Superior Class Auto Racing NASCAR Cup Series. Next, we're going to go to Thomas McMullen. Thomas McMullen, Steve, and Eric in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Thomas, I feel like I interview you every week at least once or even twice. You won last night in the super late model down at Lucas Oil Raceway. Tell us about your night tonight, though. Tire strategy came into play huge. Again, we played some tire strategy last night as well. We kind of expected that here at Dover, but how did you work the strategy compared to everybody else to get you that second spot tonight?
I mean, to be honest with you, I counted myself out of this thing pretty early on. These guys up front, they checked out, and I tried to run them down, but for whatever reason, I just couldn't. And so I was talking to Justin over the radio. I said, I'm just going to ride this out and see what happens. Because I really didn't have a plan. But yeah, everything just worked out. Stayed clean, stayed out of the wrecks. Track position was definitely a factor with that. With all the chaos that was happening behind me. So that was pretty much it. I mean, I was just trying to stay clean and just stay out of the way, not overdrive it. And that was pretty much it.
Well, either way, whatever the strategy is, just trying to stay clean and bring it home. Me and Eric talked earlier on in the race. Some of these guys were putting in a practice pre-official race session and talking about, just keep the fenders on it. Don't overdrive it. Just run your race, run it clean, and you're going to have a good finish. And it's based on what you're saying just now. It's gotten you to the second finishing position. You started 10 spots back from where you finished, so that strategy certainly worked out for you. Congratulations on that. I know you've got some sponsors on that O2 Camaro that you want to mention, so why don't you go ahead and do that for us?
Yeah, Splash and Go Graphics, Murder Creek Distillery, Next Generation Fishing Charters, The Hateful Chicken, Hollow Boys Racing TV, and the league for everything that they do. That's about it. I mean, it was a good time tonight. I don't want to make it seem like it wasn't fun, but these guys, they obviously had a leg up on me coming into this one. I'm just glad to be sitting here talking to you right now.
Sometimes better to be lucky than good. I'm sure you'll take it either way. Thomas, congratulations on second. We'll see you next week at Kentucky.
See you then.
Next up, we've got Bobby Hamilton Jr., our third place finisher. Bobby Hamilton Jr., it's Steve and Eric in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, man.
Hey, Bobby, man, you done a great race there. It looked like you were always right there at the front, but with somebody in front of you, it looked like you just couldn't really get a pass on them. Was the air? What was the deal with that?
Yeah, it was just bad air, and these for some reason they're supposed to fix that when they built these cars, but it was just so tight behind cars, and I could feel the tires just slide, and it would just kill my front. So I did what I could do to try to get where I could be out front or away from whoever. Like if I was running second or third, I'd let them get way on out, try to where it wouldn't be right up their butts and hurt my entry and through the center um and then the last pit stop I tried. So I took like half a thing of fuel, not all the way full, to get where I can just really get in the gas. Made the car too tight. So but we'll take it. It's top five, another top 10, helped in points. I think we missed a big catastrophe. I missed a shift on that restart. It screwed the 46 up. Sorry to his camp. And but a lot of good guys in front of us had bad race, so that'll help kind of close in on the points and pack our bags and get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have finished out of the top five once this season, so I know talking to you early on, the points and the bonus points were very important to you. You led some laps, got some bonus points, so congratulations on that. What do you think was the hardest thing about this track?
Um, well, it's just the passing. I mean, you had to strike while you had new tires. If you didn't, you were just kind of screwed where you were at. And bottom line is, the 5 car was the fastest car on no tires. He got out front, and if it wasn't for that caution, there wasn't nobody going to touch him. And then we had that last caution, and I knew I had to. We went through 1 and 2, me and the 56 wide open on the outside of him, and I was thinking, okay, I might be able to run the 56 down, but clean air, that was a hard. I mean, if he was out front, it was 2 tenths every lap. I mean, it was every lap unless they messed up. So, they still got a little bit of work on this car, but we all got to deal with the same problem. But once again, we left here. We got us a win already. We left here maxing the most points I can get out of the car. That's all I can ask for, and I had a shot. So I seen the leaders. I raced with the leaders. That's all I can ask for. That's all you can ask for the racing guys. Just give me a shot, and I had it tonight. I just didn't have enough for them.
Yeah, so great job tonight. I know, you're always up front. Me and Steve's always talking about it. It seems like you and David are really good at conserving tires, so we knew you'd be there at the end. Anybody you'd like to thank?
It's all the boys and girls at the Hateful Chicken and stuff. Justin had a bad night with his Hateful Chicken Chevrolet, and uh, if it wasn't for those guys, they're paying the bill. So take care of them. Hope to put on a good show. And once again, you guys, we ain't had a broadcast team as good as you guys, and the way everybody clicks in this whole organization between the drivers and everything. And I'm going to tell you, I want to give just a pat on the back to all the guys here. We ran literally 50, 75, almost 100 laps, no caution. That is so hard to do at this place because it's stupid slick and everything else. And um, just a big applause to my guys in here. I mean, all these drivers. I'm just glad to be part of it.
That's Bobby Hamilton Jr., your third place finisher. Congratulations, Bobby, sacrificing, really bringing home that third place finish after some damage. A tough run here at Dover. Look forward to seeing you run next week at Kentucky.
10-4, see you there, man.
Thanks, Bobby.
It's Bobby Hamilton Jr., your third place finisher here today at the Dover 200. I guess, Eric, what's your final thoughts here as far as how things went tonight's race this afternoon here in Dover, Delaware?
I think it was a good race. I mean, we saw early on that the 66 of Cody Harger looked like he was just going to be the car to beat, and error on his part changed the whole race. I don't think we talked about Will Jones that much, and he was the one that came home with the finish. That's why, you never know going into the race who's going to win. Anything can happen.
Will is always a contender when it comes down to these races late in the going. That's just a given. It's going to happen no matter what anybody does. You're going to have to deal with the 56 at some point, just like you're going to have to deal with the 46 or the 16. And certainly lately the 02 of Thomas McMullen, same situation with him. He's been up in these top 3 finishes. I feel like every week I interview him for a race because he's finished on that top 3 category, whether it's super late, ARCA, Next Gen Cup Series. It doesn't seem to matter. He's always going to be a contender. So somebody you're certainly going to have to deal with. He seems to be one of the new guys up front that you're going to have to beat, along with Hamilton Jr., Jones, and Bradford.
Yeah, they all done a great job. You know, like Bobby said, we didn't have a lot of cautions until right there at the end. I think you said it earlier, cautions breed cautions, but you can tell these guys put in the practice and they were ready to go this week.
It's something that we say quite a bit. You got to practice. I don't care how good you are. I mean, you've got to put the time in the week, get some laps down, especially with this new car. It's a totally different animal than what these guys were used to running last year with the Gen 6 car. It behaves completely different. The power is different. The handling is different. The aerodynamics are different. I mean, from the ground up, it's a new piece of machinery, and you got to have time in the seat to get good at it. And the guys that don't do it, you're going to see them. They're going to be in the back. The guys that spend the time behind the wheel before the race, they're going to be up in that top 10. So very
Yeah,
important.
I'm sure you're kind of like me. You know, when I first got iRacing, I thought it was going to be kind of like PlayStation. I was going to go in and dominate. That's not the case. I mean, I was highly fooled. You have to put in the time and practice, as we've talked about a lot.
Yeah, we certainly have. It's something that's come up in the broadcast before, and if you don't, it's just you're not going to be quick. You're A, not going to be quick. You're B, not going to win races, and C, you're going to be in the way. When I first got on the sim myself, I always grew up playing on the Xbox or the PlayStation, and even had the wheel and the pedal assembly before I ever got into iRacing. And I spent a week doing iRacing, and I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I thought I made a mistake. I says, I'm no good at this, but you got to keep at it. Got to keep practicing, turning laps, lap after lap after lap. I see these guys that run the road course series with me and the Scar side as well. We run a road course series every other Sunday night. Coming up this Sunday, we're going to be running at Mid Ohio. That'll be on Pit Stop TV. But guys that get frustrated with it, you've got to put the laps in. I was terrible even on road courses when I first started in iRacing, and you just got to get used to it. You got to put in the effort. You got to practice, and it will come to you. One day, it just clicks. And the guys that taught me, I'm just as quick as they are now. And at some point, if you put in the time and effort, you'll be there. The same holds true in road course, whether it does on oval, it's the same thing. You got to put in the time.
I agree 100%.
So that's going to wrap things up here from Dover, Delaware. We're going to go over the finishing order here before we let everybody sneak out. We still got a few viewers in the stream. Some guys bailed out early. Shame on you. But the results of tonight's race, of course, Will Jones, your winner, that number 56 VCR racing machine. Thomas McMullen came home second, a late pass on to Bobby Hamilton Jr. Bobby Jr. ends up in the third spot, which means I think I win again this week, Eric. Mark Truxell was fourth. David Bradford brought it home fifth, even though he's a little under the weather. Good run for the 46. Vincent Short, another good run for Vince. Brings it home sixth, just short of that top 5. Jesse Bobo, a good run for the 7 machine. He's up into the top 10. Carson Conway, same thing. Top 10 finish for the 82. Jeff Napier as well. Some unfamiliar faces up here in the top 10. Really good to see. Again, shows who's putting the practice in. These guys are going to get better, and the proof is in the pudding and in the results. You see some new guys, new fresh faces up in the top 10. Brian Rose, now number 89, he finishes 10th. Colt Ansley, after a rough night, salvages an 11th place finish. Ian Spear was 12th. Justin Napier, after some big-time struggles here this afternoon, finishes 13th. Alan DeFries, 14th. Cody Harger, tough luck out of Cody Harger once again. It bites him, and here you see it. He's finishing 15th after, leading the stages, winning stage 1, winning stage 2, gets caught speeding on the pit lane. late in the race before stage 3, was never able to recover. He gets involved in a couple of wrecks, and P15 for the 66 Plasmine Technologies machine. Will Hewitt, never really a factor tonight. Tough place for the 33. Jason Spear, 17th. Mike Aiello Jr., trouble early. Unfortunately, once again, a netcode related issue with the 74. I think it was the 71 of Alan DeFries. Lost connection for just a moment. Disappeared completely from the racing surface while he was disappeared. Made contact with the 74 or vice versa. It's kind of hard to avoid something you can't see, and sent Mike Aiello Jr. into the fence, and his day was done relatively early. Finishes 181 laps down. So that's going to about do it. Again, please be sure to join us next week, Monday, about 8:45. We're going to have the ARCA series coming to you on December 6th. That's also going to be from the Monster Mile here at Dover. And then the following day, Tuesday, we have the Superior Class Auto Racing NASCAR Cup Series from Kentucky Speedway. Streams go live at about 8:45, so tune in. Like, follow, share, subscribe. You'll be notified as long as you've got those notifications turned on when we go live at any time, not just for SCAR, but for any of the Holler Boys Racing TV streams. Once in a while, Eric will make a cameo and pop into one of those oddballs, but for the most part, Eric will be here for all the Cup races with the exception of next week because, Mr. Fancy Pants is going to be at the Greenbrier. But I appreciate him being here when he can. He certainly adds a lot to the broadcast. And Eric, I got to say, I thank you very much for joining us and all of your input every race that you do make.
I appreciate it. I love doing it, and wish I could be here next week. But I'll make sure to get my pick in before the green flag drops.
And maybe send us a little video clip. We'll get it up in the stream, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we could do that.
Well, that's going to wrap it up here from Dover, Delaware. For Eric Dotson, I'm Steve Singer with Holler Boys Racing TV, live from Dover, Delaware, virtual Dover, Delaware. The Dover 200 is in the books. Congratulations to Will Jones on his victory. We'll see everybody next week. Thanks for watching.